This is Norm Cam, and you're watching Hawk and Roll Hysteria on hawkandroll.com. Check it out, baby. Whoa! Go Seahawks!
Well, you know, the interesting thing about that play, and I know that down and distance and game situation was completely different, but on my Facebook page, I did a juxtaposition of the very first play of the game and the very last play of the game, and with the caption, first play plus last play equals same play, because essentially on both of those plays, they lined up exactly the same, and it was the exact same play, of course with different results. Picked up first 2 yards on the first time they ran it at the beginning of the game, and of course a negative yard on the last play. Unfortunately, I don't know if Russell Wilson has the ability to, in a situation like that, fake and bootleg that around, because that bootleg was not open when they ran it the first time, but it was so open at that point. He may have even scored. Chris Long was biting down really hard, and with a good fake, he could have scooted around. He would have picked up the first down without a doubt.
I would have liked to have seen Russ do that as well, because I noticed that we haven't seen that naked boot. That was like against, I think, Kansas City preseason or something. That was we saw him do that, and I was like, oh my God, that's going to be a play that we're going to see a whole bunch of, and we haven't seen it a lot. I would love to have seen it on that final play.
Well, I mean, how about just the ability to audible out of the call? If you're coming up in that situation and you see 9 in the box, and they already know exactly what you're going to do. You have Marshawn Lynch and an offset gun. You know that play is going to. You've seen it 3 times already in the game. You know it's going to be a halfback draw, so you already know that they're already gunning for Marshawn. So if you're in that situation, you see 9 in the box, why don't you just audible out of it? You know what I mean? It's the ability just to understand exactly what situation that you're in.
So the Hawks fall 31-23 on to game 2, heading to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Green Bay Packers. Packers beat the Bears 34-31. Right? No, they beat the Bears 31-23. The Hawks lost 34-31. Both teams scoring 31 points. So the Packers can be scored on.
Saying 31, man.
I know.
I'm
telling you, that's the ongoing thing. What do you want me to do?
You know what I mean? I know it's rock and roll hysteria, man. You're just trying to make me hysterical.
Blame Cam Chancellor.
Hysterical?
Put it on Cam.
You're the one saying 31 all the time.
Get out of Cam's pockets, man. Let him hold out if he wants more money. God, we need him. We need him.
And especially in a game, against Aaron Rodgers, this is the worst case scenario. You were expecting at least a victory in week 1. Now at least you come in with some kind of momentum into Lambeau. Aaron Rodgers. I mean, granted, both of these teams do not like each other. There's blood. Both teams. This is a nice little rivalry that's going on. We face this team every single year, but this is. I wouldn't say this is almost an impossible task. Going to Lambeau against a team that just really wants nothing more than just to punch you in the mouth. I'm not really hopeful for this.
Well, that's the thing. Last week was about the division. This week it's about the conference. The Rams didn't give a damn that the Seattle Seahawks were back-to-back division and conference champions. It just shows how the NFC West now has elevated itself to be the toughest division in the National Football League. And just like what you just said, Insider Steve, the Green Bay Packers ain't going to give a damn about the Seattle Seahawks going to the Super Bowl, because they miraculously, magically, hocus-pocusly shifted, changed places with them
Think about
at the end of the title game last year. So
think about the history between these two franchises. You've got the we want the ball, we're going to score. Pick.
How about
We've got the Fail Mary. We've got the NFC Championship game from last year. That was one of the most unbelievable games you're ever going to see. I mean, so there's an actual history and rivalry building up between these two franchises. And I think that the Packers are a little bit pissed.
Yeah.
I think they're really, really pissed. They believe that they should have been in the Super Bowl. And by all intents and purposes, they probably should have been. But the Hawks took advantage of their opportunities. They were good enough to do that, and so they moved on. But the Packers are going to be tough. The run game's pretty solid. Aaron Rodgers is solid. You've got James Jones now back on that squad after sitting with the Raiders for a year, like everybody does. It doesn't want to play or do anything. They go to the Raiders and hang out in L.A. for a little bit.
Like the paychecks in the sun.
And now he's back on. So let's start with the Hawks defense versus the Packers offense. This is probably the toughest deal because I don't know where the Hawks are going to get their advantage. I think it's got to be the pass rush with Averill and Bennett, and Bruce Irvin's got to get a sack or two this game. They have got to put pressure like we've never seen on Aaron Rodgers before.
No, and you're absolutely right. That's going to be their only advantage because, again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's out, what receiver is out, because I mean, Aaron Rodgers has the ability to turn a no-name scrub into a guy that's going to be able to catch 8 for $115 and 2 TDs. I mean, that's just how he rolls. Not only that, he has the ability to move outside the pocket. So I mean, if you do, he has the ability to shift, stepped up, make a throw. I mean, that's just his MO. So if you're the Seattle Seahawks, the last thing you want to do is give him that extra half a second to a full second to sit in the pocket and just pick you apart. So you're absolutely right. This is going to be a Michael Bennett issue. This is going to be a Cliff Averill issue. If they can get some pressure into his face up the middle. Just as you said, Bruce Irvin, maybe even the rookie
Frank the
Tank off the edges as well too. So this is going to have to be a commutative team effort here to try to put Aaron Rodgers on the back. Because if not, if you give him the ability to step up, we already know exactly what we saw last week.
Well, Captain, you said putting on pressure like never before, but didn't they sack Aaron Rodgers like 6 times?
8 times. It was as a matter of fact, it was the Fail Mary game. It was 8 times. I think it was in the first.
There you go. So not like never before, like that game.
Okay, that game. But they might need to do more than that. They had Cam Chancellor that game, did they not?
Yeah.
Yes, look, if you got to sack Aaron Rodgers more than 8 times and can't win the ball game, we may as well just do a wrap right now and quit talking about it because there's nothing you can
you're right,
do.
8 times is plenty, but I'm talking he's got to be hurried and rushed more than 8 times.
No doubt.
Game.
He's got to be in duress. He's got to be in duress.
Listen, when Aaron Rodgers is done with that game, he needs to feel like it was his first day in prison and somebody was trying to use his butthole for a sleeping bag. That's how he needs to feel at the end of the game.
I mean, I wouldn't think that like prison rape would be like the ultimate.
Yes.
This is exactly how you have to
need
feel.
to prison rape Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly. I mean, you went to the far extreme, but I guess that's what you need to do.
Captain we need.
Okay, well, that's it.
On Rock and Roll Hysteria,
Captain.
On rockandroll.com on the internet, not a guy in nice comfy confines of a studio thinking that the FCC is going to buck the cap on the shoulder, man. You're in the bunker, man.
You're in the bunker. Prison rape? Bring it on. I mean,
Why not?
Why not?
Richard Sherman's got to have a chance to pick some balls off.
Yeah.
I remember that he didn't throw to Sherman's side that last year, the beginning, the opener, right? Not one throw.
Not one throw.
They're not going to do that same thing this time. It's not going to happen. They threw to his side during the NFC Championship game, but I think they're going to primarily go to the left side. They're going to hammer that left side. So Earl's got to maybe cheat over. I mean, Commando, is that a place you think that the Hawks can get an advantage? Maybe getting Earl loose and free and maybe have him anticipate and go after the ball?
I don't know if it's an advantage. It might just be even money, because again, we hate beating a dead horse to death once it's dead and not going to be revived by any kind of stretch of the imagination. But that's what you miss in terms of not having a guy that allows Earl Thomas to just roam sideline to sideline with that speed and that, propensity for finding and being around every single ball. So no, I don't see it as an advantage. I see it as what's gonna, like we talked about last week, that secondary has to keep things even money so that your guy Tyler Lockett can then bust one on the special teams. I mean, that's what we're looking for him to the special teams to kind of make up for a lot of the lag that we're looking for on missing on defense.
They got to steal the ball at some point in time, though.
No, I know that. You got me there. There's no question about that.
It's going to be an issue of takeaways. I mean, if the Seahawks can put themselves in a position where they can force a 3 and out or 2, I don't care which half you're going to be able to put yourself in a situation where you can create some momentum. So if it's a 3 and out and you can get the hands on the ball of Tyler Lockett, I don't know if it's going to be a situation where Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to take advantage of one side or the other. I thought Kerry Williams played pretty decently last week on the left side. And even though, again, Richard Sherman wasn't exactly what we thought Richard Sherman was going to be the first game out, he is still, in my book, one of the best corners, if not the best corner in the National Football League. So I don't think it's going to be a situation of what side it's going to be a place of being able to take advantage. I think it's going to be a situation of is this going to be a situation where the Seahawks can get a takeaway or two and put themselves in a position to create their own momentum?
Well, going back to what you said, that they're not going to shy away from Richard Sherman, that it gives a little bit of the edge because Richard Sherman just has a way of baiting quarterbacks into throwing balls that they should not throw. And so to that end, it's funny how the one game where they didn't go to that side, you think, oh, well, that's an advantage. Well, maybe not, because when you go to Richard Sherman's side, Richard Sherman, at some point, is going to get a pick.
At some point, he's going to get you.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, it's funny that you brought that up because he does have the ability to make quarterbacks make errant throws. And last week was a very good example. It was actually the beautiful throw that Nick Foles actually threaded the needle between Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas on the sideline. It was with Stedman Bailey, and he was running that little 25-yard flag route to the outside of the sideline, and Richard Sherman actually had a good blanket coverage on him one-on-one. It just happened to be it was a bad throw, and as a matter of fact, it looked like it was going to be overthrown, and he actually put it in a position where only Bailey could catch it. But at the same time, you had single high over, you had the under taken away, and that was a pass where generally those type of passes get underthrown, and that is Richard Sherman territory right there.
Not just that, I saw Richard Sherman beat by about 2 steps, and then made it up in the end zone. I was like, wow, that's the Richard Sherman that I cannot wait for Aaron Rodgers to throw again.
So last week against the Bears, Aaron Rodgers, 18 of 23. Those are kind of Russell Wilson numbers right there. 189 yards, 3 touchdowns. So he was very efficient. Their running game was pretty good. Eddie Lacy, 19 carries, 85 yards, and a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers also carried the ball 8 times for 35 yards.
Very even, very balanced.
Yeah. I mean, it really took a page out of what the Hawks do right there. I mean, so, listen, I'm nervous. I think that the Hawks defense can create those turnovers and make the big plays, frustrate Aaron Rodgers. They've had a propensity to do that in the past, and even without Cam, I think they can still do it. We go to the other side of the ball. We look at the Hawks offense. Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch only carried the ball. How many times did he carry the ball last game?
18 touches for 73 yards. 18
touches for 73 yards. I predicted 100. He didn't quite get there. Had he got that 4th and 1, who knows what might have happened after that. He would have accumulated a few more yards possibly. But Russell Wilson threw the ball 40 times. I don't think that that's going to happen this time. I expect the Hawks to come out and grind it, pound it, and give it to Marshawn repetitively. Probably 25 carries is what I'm guessing.